go on what I knew for sure. Blew up in my face. Woke up on the floor. Couldn't take no more. My darkest day. But I can't lose sleep on what I cannot change. I chased the lightning, I got soaked in the rain. Danced with my demons till I couldn't see straight. Try to twist me, but I still won't break. I don't mind how far away.
Welcome into the bridge, of course, with Kelly Vance and Phil Wallace. Kelly, the part of Kelly being played today by Drew Casaccio Cappuccino.
I'm actually identifying as Kent Jones today because I'm wearing his hat.
There you go, identifying as KJ. That is good. Today, Kelly's been over in Africa for about the last month, and her building her school over there.
That's awesome
for people, which is great. And she's probably a little jet lagged and exhausted. And
I would think so.
We hope to get her in.
Right.
Doing just great work. And
get that R&R.
The other thing we want to do is give a huge shout out right now to Piano Trends.
Yes.
Big supporters of 216. Drew, you want to?
Yeah. So Piano Trends. Listen. Local here in Crystal Lake, Illinois, Piano Trends for all of your musical needs. Not just pianos, Kent. It's clarinets, it's tuning, it's trumpets. It's just about everything you could think of in music. And if you didn't think you had an alternative when your kid goes to school, Phil, if you didn't think there was an alternative according to what the school is pointing you to, you can still go to Piano Trends and still get your instrument. You can get it used. Okay. Very competitive prices. Tim Paul, the owner there, is a great guy. Check him out. Piano Trends, Crystal Lake.
Played the alto sax in my day.
The alto sax, nice.
Second chair.
Pretty big on the zither myself and the cowbell.
Look at my boy Phil. He's the only one marching in step.
My Mary Had a Little Lamb was impeccable.
Yeah, hot cross buns, always good.
Yes. Mary Had a Little Lamb.
So listen. Of course, this is where we want to build bridges and talk about things that are out there. In today's world, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. We talked about the commercials on the grounds earlier this morning, and we brought up the tight end for the Chiefs and his run-in, literally, with the head coach.
Talking about Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Yeah.
That way everyone knows what we're talking about.
Right.
And there was a moment where the Kansas City Chiefs were losing in the game. They were behind in score.
All right.
For those of you who don't follow football, they keep scoring.
Most of the game.
Yes. Yeah. And this athlete, said athlete, got very upset with the play calling, or that he wasn't in the game or something. Actually ran up, this big man, right? I mean, he makes Phil look kind of small. Phil's a big man too. Runs in, grabs his coach and runs into his coach, yelling in his ear. Right. So Phil, you found issue with this.
No. So there was a post on Facebook, and it says a different perspective.
Yes.
Admittedly, I gasped a little when it was shown during the game. It felt out of line. I also know that none of us watching have ever experienced playing a Super Bowl football game. We've experienced that level, or never experienced that level of emotion during a sports event. The intensity of communication in sports in general is different. His coach Andy interviewed after the game, laughed about it, said Travis makes him feel young. He said Travis came over right after and hugged him. Said sorry about that. Of course, that part was not shown, meaning the hug. A relationship between a coach and his players is something most of us cannot understand. They are good, yet they are good, yet my timeline was filled with posts trying to cancel Travis for this moment. And to me, that's the most toxic thing in our world these days. Cancel culture is out of control. You can't make one mistake without getting taken to the next level. I think most of us can agree that we are thankful our whole life isn't documented for the world to cancel us. Quit trying to find dirt on everyone. Go be the one to find the gold. So
good post, right?
Interesting post. Can't say good post.
Okay.
Interesting post. I love the concept. So that's where like I can't say I had a problem with it.
Yes.
I love the concept.
Correct.
I hate the inconsistency.
Correct.
That's where I find
right. So
Okay.
And to give you some background on Phil's and my conversation, right? And if people, because people know me kind of as the pokey guy and the poke the bear guy, and Phil and I are as close as two brothers can be, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He sends it to me. I'm like, yeah, an interesting spin the media put on it. He sends back spin ? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not following what you're saying. He goes, I'm not following what you're saying. So what I said is, I go, interesting that the media only showed the incident.
Right.
Right. So it shows the bump, the yelling. As a coach, guess what? Go to the locker room.
Right.
I don't care who you are. You just crossed the line. Right. I'm not putting my hands on you. You're not putting your hands on me, but you did. So guess what? Go to the locker room.
Right.
You ain't playing. I don't care what game it is, right? That's me,
right?
As a coach, and I coach basketball. I don't coach football, right? And I said, but they didn't show it live.
The hug.
No, they didn't. They didn't show the hit live.
Oh yeah.
They go, hey, look what just happened down here.
Right.
So they did show the hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm like, oh, that's bullshit, right?
And the screaming.
But then they didn't go back to show the apology and the hug. And that's where I was saying they spun the negative, wanting to create a rift there. Or people go, man, this guy's a jerk. Right. And we talked about the same incoherent jerk kind of being at the end of the game. But anyway, anywho, right.
That was another one.
Yeah.
So
I said,
there's a lot going on here today, Phil.
I said they should have shown the apology, and the two then going, okay. Right. And then Phil goes, no.
Because I responded with to the knuckle.
Right.
He said spin. And I was like, well, is it a spin? If they say, well, he was digging in his nose and you find me to the knuckle, it's not a spin. Like he was doing it.
Right.
Kent said it was the angle. And I said, well, he did bump him.
Yep.
He did yell at him. No one is twisting that like that actually did happen.
Yep.
Cool. But I did agree with, but they should also show the hug.
Right.
But what I've seen in certain situations is, from my stance, the spin is, it looked like this athlete who does not look like Travis. It looks like they may have, even when they didn't make any contact.
Yeah. So we can spin it and let's go all the way to women, where in the national championship last year, Angel Reese was very in the moment and pointing at her finger like, we got the ring and you don't, Caitlin Clark.
Right.
And they called her a thug. They call, oh man, that's bad sportsmanship, and she's a thug. And
if you've watched how they've treated her all this year, they are looking for any thug activity that she may have. If she gets an and one and she does this, she's classless. She's blah 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 blah.
She does a hard foul.
She does a hard foul. Look at this thug. It's just like Lasher, what she did to poor Caitlin.
So they created a perception.
Yep.
And then what they're trying to do is follow that perception and do nothing but poke at that perception of it. Right. So listen, you don't watch reality TV because it's warm and fuzzy, right? People are addicted to it because of the drama that's involved in it, right? So in order to keep people watching, to keep people doing it, they have no problem finding the one-sided perception and aiming everything at it for the masses and volume. Does that make sense?
I'm following you. What I'm saying is one person plays one role in this perception.
Correct.
Other person, let's call it whitewashed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can, because we talked about this and I've, kid play ball, I could play ball, right? And we've been regional, sectional, NCAA, get whatever.
Yeah.
I've never bumped my coach. I've never yelled at my coach. The standard is if I'm playing for Kent and I'm at MCC and I have something I just do not agree with, I'm supposed to talk to Kent either after the game or tomorrow before or after practice. I'm not going to address him in front of the team, right?
I did. I called my coach out when I was in high school. I didn't see the floor of that game. Right? That's what I'm saying. Right? I straight out embarrassed him. What I thought as an 18-year-old. Right.
I guess we treat coaches like we treat police. I'm not saying anything.
I had a brother-in-law in high school knock his coach out, his football coach, and quit the team because of the way he was treated.
I understand. Like, I've seen kids retaliate or throw chairs or whatever the case may be. What I'm saying is, for this person saying is a high-level professional athlete playing at a high pace, blah, 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 blah. And although, yes, there's one-offs, typically the protocol, or if we went to a Crystal Lake South game tonight, and Christian, the tall 6'8" kid, were to bump Mr. Coach LePage and yell in his face, I don't think the Northwest Herald is going to black kid. I don't think the Northwest Herald, and I'm not saying that they're bad people, I'm just saying any media outlet, I say it that way, is going to lead with, and a pleasant turn happened last night in Crystal Lake. Coach LePage and his star center, Christian, was able to hash out what it seemed like differences in a passionate battle for a regional title. I don't think so.
No.
Right. So
you're 100% right.
I don't think so.
So, the inconsistency that we're looking at is we don't hear about it. You haven't heard another whisper about it. There's been no fine. There's been no you have to take anger management courses. There's been no, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
If there is, it hasn't been public. We've seen it in other instances in other sports where, oh my gosh, well, guess what? You can't play now for 5-6 games until you take this course, and this course. Right?
Right. You had to apologize to all old white men.
Correct.
Because you bumped that.
Right.
You had to apologize to the Jewish community.
Right. So
for sharing a documentary that he did not say specifically. He didn't bump directly and yell at.
Right. So the inconsistency is this. Now, also we want to keep in mind, the brand that he is affecting. Right? Yeah, it's just a little blowy up there. The brand that he is affecting. And I'm not saying the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. I'm saying a pop artist.
Ooh.
Right?
Taylor.
So we can brush this under because the brand that he would affect could have adverse reaction, right? With ticket sales and song sales.
Well, life is let's just put it on the table. Life is a lot different when you're in the spotlight.
Yeah.
You have to dot your I's and cross your T's. How you act might not be who you are, but everybody has that bad day, right? Yeah. And everybody can be portrayed on that bad day as who they are.
Yeah.
But because you're in the spotlight, and that's what you do for a living, sitting in a spotlight, not only are you affecting you, but the ones around you. If you are engaged with another celebrity or something, now you're affecting them too and their lives. But you want the big dollars. You want to be known as something.
Right.
You have to do the hard work and make sure that you are not portraying yourself on your bad day.
Okay. With that, so let's say that, and it's not even far. I tried to make something far-fetched, and then when I thought about it, it's not. Let's say that, and you'll hear
Wallace it up there, Phil.
You'll hear the punchline. Let's say that Draymond Green got with, let's say, Kim Kardashian.
Okay.
And I thought it was far-fetched, so I thought about Pete Davidson, and I was like,
really not that far,
right.
Right.
Let's say that Draymond puts someone in a headlock again. Their media is not gonna have a field day because they don't want to mess up Draymond. Drag Draymond's name through the mud in protection of Kim. Now, she's just as powerful as a Taylor Swift in some people's circles, but it's Draymond. That's free candy. We like dragging Draymond through the mud because although this person can fight their teammate, or before this football game, this guy kicks his guy's helmet, that's not anger management. Draymond is.
Yeah.
And here's my thing. So from my other side is we don't want to mess up the perception of Taylor Swift. So if Travis gets the bad name, blah, 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 blah. You know what school Kyrie went to school at? Duke. How many troublemakers, other than lacrosse teams, do you know at Duke, NBA-wise?
Oh, what's the white kid who plays?
Christian Laettner.
No.
plays.
Yeah, he's still in the league right now. He's very.
Oh yeah, but Grayson Allen. Okay,
Grayson
so
Allen,
let's say 3 decades of basketball of Duke.
Yeah.
Grayson Allison being cheap, and it only stands out because that's not what that product produces.
Correct.
That institution doesn't really do. They scrappy kids and they hustle, but Grayson Allen
dirty like Grayson.
Kind of, you know what I mean? It doesn't sit right here. So, all right, you're tarnishing the good name of Duke.
Yeah.
Dragging Kyrie.
Yeah.
Or we have a guy that, if other than the Earth thing being flat, other than that, a very intellectual, well-spoken.
It's not flat.
That's a different.
Different show.
A very intellectual, well-spoken African American.
Yeah.
That
does a lot of good.
That does a lot of
good.
A lot. Man, he paid for this college. He does this. He bought this for these people. He paid for this fine for these folks. And blah blah blah. And just like that hug, we don't see it.
Mm.
No, I don't know who made the post, right? I don't know them personally or follow them or whatever. But it did. The algorithms did make it go viral, right? Interestingly enough, I don't know why it wasn't somebody that I know who shared it on,
right.
And it actually showed up on my,
on your feed.
On
So
my feed.
So
it shouldn't have.
Right? When something is posted and it starts trending because people want it to be what it is, doesn't necessarily mean it is what it is. So how far have you went down the rabbit hole to find the positive comment for the one that's not going to trend? And is it accurate? Because social media, right? It's so big, and everybody's a newscaster, right? And everybody wants those views. And listen, we own studios, right? Everybody wants that traction, and all PR is good PR because it's gaining value to the person who's doing it. Correct. Well, right. Don't even get them started. What are you doing?
Well played.
But so listen, being involved into the social media world on the platforms that we're in and everything else, for somebody that's watching right now, and when they popped on and I said I'm identifying as Kent Jones, somebody's going to be like, this guy's knocking people who identify other people, but they don't know that I help hundreds, thousands of people, and I do everything in my power to be a good person and raise my kids right and do all the right things. They don't know. You know why? Because they got that one perception of me because I'm on camera doing it. If I came on here and did this and talked a little bit different, right? The perception of somebody that's on the other side of that camera is going to go, "Wow, look at this guy."
Especially if you have a South Pole velour sweatshirt on.
Oh,
I will judge you.
You would too. I would. I'd be like, who is this guy? Right. So
he's Johnny Blaze, though.
Right. So are you? That's why here at the studios we portray with no politics, and we try to give the good feed because all you see is the rabbit hole and the bad feed. You watch one bad thing. Next thing you know, your feed is filled with it, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you get away with it? How do you get around it? Where do you go? Well, what is the answer to find the right answer?
Well, the answer is this, right? Is we have taken political campaigning into daily campaigning on social media, right? So in other words, you never hear, very seldomly hear, hey, here's what I believe in and here's what I'm standing on. It's like, no, Phil's a rotten, lying, wife beating, and you shouldn't vote for him. I approve this message.
Oh, and he's from Chicago.
He's not people. I just
right. Did you vote from someone African American from dun dun dun?
So
Chicago.
Somewhere
that's a whole different animal in itself, right?
Somewhere the guys who are up in the C-suite, petting their hairless cat, like, oh, this will be good.
Right.
Let's put this out.
Pulling out the old belly button lint.
Knows that. Hey, if I can throw something out there that can create a stir and start getting people back and forth, I've done my job.
Yeah.
Right. Again, you take a look at that and go, does it work? It absolutely works. There was I've got a cousin, and she posted, you know, hey, way to spend $17 million on marketing Jesus. Should have gave that money to the hungry, you know. And I'm like, ooh, well, we kind of missed the you know. And I go, nope.
Nah.
Right?
Not jumping in front of that one.
No.
Right?
Right. So those things have, you know what I'm saying? They want that. And there are people out there who want that. And that's what social media does. Very few people will do what Phil and I, Drew, you and I do is, okay, wait a minute. Whoa, what about the spin? What spin? What, you know, and then we talk about it, right? In other words, I'm going to get infuriated with Phil because I'm rolling up on his role, you know, on social media. Damn, Phil, what do you mean, man? Blah, 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 blah. You only see it one way, you know, and now we're fighting,
right?
You know.
Well, and I believe that the drama that you find on social media is a distraction to your own.
Yeah, you do.
But here's what I'm going to say though.
That's why people really want to dig into it.
Have you seen Trevor Noah's stand up in Detroit?
Comedy.
Do me a favor, and what do he's first of all, Trevor Noah is brilliant, right? Brilliant. And he goes, you kind of calling people out in a comedic way, but he's saying, man, don't you get it? He goes, I remember right now, America's fighting over genders in bathrooms. Mm-hmm. And he goes, don't y'all get it? Don't you remember when it's like, you're going to let a gay man into the bathroom? What? How am I supposed to use the bathroom now knowing that there's a gay in there? Right? You remember this? Right.
Like you're going to catch it.
It was a whole thing.
Right.
Our
COVID.
The powers that be give us stupid things.
Yeah.
Right. To fight about. Right. Hey, all of a sudden, it's just case in point. It's 50 degrees in February here in Chicago,
which we appreciate greatly. We appreciate greatly Mother Nature.
You know who I haven't heard? Oh yeah, tell me about global warming now.
Right.
And once it hits 5 below, guess who the first people? Oh yeah, global warming. You know, tell me it's freezing. And I'm like, where y'all at now? Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where are we all at on Asian love? Well, that's gone too now. Where are we?
So the ones that follow the masses. So I'll give you a quick lowdown, simple story. My mother-in-law, we had a dinner at her house not too long ago. A lot of the family was there.
Yeah.
And she follows, news hardcore and everything. The world's ending all the time. I love her to death. She's a very sweet woman, very caring mother, very caring to me as a mother-in-law, so I love her dearly. But she brought to me because we got a water bottle. I can't get a bottle of water. So I was drinking out of it. She's like, did you know that drinking out of plastic is bad now? And I was like, okay. She's like, well, it's because, it'll give you whatever, cancer or something. I said, okay, so let me ask you this question. I said, when you go buy chicken, what is it in? When you go buy your meat, what is it in? A lot of your vegetables now, your green beans come in what? I said, when you carry all that out, what is it in? I'm like, listen, you're in your 70s. What the hell are you worried about? Right? So could it be a problem for the future? Maybe not, but it's everything is a problem. Don't eat out of aluminum foil. Remember that? You'll get Alzheimer's. That was a thing back in the day.
That was my Yeti. We cut the Pepsi can.
Everything was an aluminum foil, right? I would lick the cheese off of the aluminum foil.
And we were lucky enough to get a Pepsi for the field trip. We wrapped that in tinfoil. That's what kept it cold back in the day.
When you drank out of the hose in the city, the only thing you had to make sure of, you let it run for 2 seconds, or it was filled with bugs and hot water.
That's what you had to put your egg sandwich in.
So, but what about the rubber that's lined in that hole? I mean, listen, I'm still here.
Listen, the unfortunate thing is, Phil, because you're landlocked here, basically, in where we're at, that straw is going to kill a turtle. I'm just
so the perception. It's about perception is key.
Did you see the comedian talk about that?
Yeah.
Water big. Turtle?
Right.
It's gonna find a turtle's nostril.
Right. It does.
I mean, should we be throwing garbage into our oceans? Probably
No.
not.
Oh,
right?
yes. No,
Should we be
because
throwing in the
there are
street?
no-
Probably
there are
not.
no
right?
laws. There are no laws, and the sea has no laws.
You know. And
So,
you know, if you
that's
really
what-
dig deep into some of those creatures
So-
in the seas, they're smarter. than
Right,
we are.
right. But here's what I'm saying, and that, I think where Phil's going, the inconsistency is that was something. But the powers that be decided that wasn't that big of a something. But the powers that be, had it been a 300-pound, Jones, the lineman, that did it, yeah, maybe that's something.
Dimitri St. Pierre.
Right now, the funny thing too is that the coach is a big dude. He didn't move, didn't even look at it,
Didn't flinch.
didn't flinch.
He kind of took the
He took the brunt of it.
right with it.
Yeah,
Man.
but didn't even look at it.
Right.
His Monopoly mustache didn't even move.
It's so true. That thing's
Yeah.
It looks like
Right?
a comb.
So I think what we have to start recognizing on the bridge is who's planting potholes.
Right. So to go with what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? The coach didn't move. Neither did Caitlin.
Right.
She wasn't moved
Right.
by the ring thing. Hey, we're two competitors.
Correct.
Going at it. We've
And
got
that's
a
what
lot
she
of
said,
love and
like,
respect
hey,
for.
right.
Right. But
Love her. She's a baller. Yeah.
this is still my sister. Blah blah blah. We compete.
Oh.
We've played against each other for years now. Blah 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 blah. The person who should be offended
So
said it was fine.
Kent Jones follows Angel Reese on social media. Right.
Is that what Kim Jones does?
Yeah.
Phil
and-
Wallace approves.
And what
What's
you didn't-
happening?
And what you didn't say,
Third person.
Caitlin Clark broke the all-time scoring record, women's scoring record. She's got a chance to break the all-time
From the
scoring record
logo.
from the logo.
Mm.
From the logo.
So good, right?
Came across half court, let it fly.
Oh, yeah.
Now, nobody.
That's hot.
What didn't go viral was Angel Reese saying, "Man, y'all got to watch this woman's going to break the all-time record. Go get it! Congratulations!" Just propping up Caitlin. That didn't even hit viral. Okay, so here's this thug. The mutual respect. So I grew up. It was Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. They hated each other, right? But there was mutual respect. But nobody. The big ring thing was a big deal a few months ago. But here she is going, "Go get it! Proud of you. This is exciting for all women's sports." You know what I mean? Crickets.
The ring thing, which didn't bump her, she
Right.
didn't yell in her face.
Crickets.
From me to Kent, did this.
Crickets.
The hug behind the scenes, the love, the blah, blah, blah. No social media.
Crickets. Now, and I tell people, as a coach, right? My daughter, she's 14 years old. They're down by 30. She drops a 3 and she runs down court with a 3. Her coach pulls her out and goes, "Listen, we're down by 30.
Right.
There's no need to celebrate a 3. Ever. Don't ever do that again." Right. Angel Reese. I would have said the same thing to Angel Reese. Like, "Listen, we're up. I get that you're excited." Right. But that's the way that I coach my team. Right. I wouldn't have chastised her or anything. I'd have been like, "Hey, understand you're in the public eye, those type of things, how it reflects on you, your future, right? That's a teachable moment for me. Did I like it? No, not necessarily. Did I think it was bad? Absolutely not, because that's part of the game.
Right.
That's part of the game.
And that's where we had the conversation of just like the post said, right? We've never been in a high intensity, a lot of eyes on you, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you mean like a national women's championship?
Right.
Where emotions are high and
And
somehow
you ain't
yet
getting paid.
ain't getting paid. And somehow yet this child managed to not bump the player or coach.
Right.
Mhm.
But this grown man bumps the coach and yells in his face.
Yeah.
So if a high intensity, a lot of pressure environment means that emotions get high, why is this person not held to the same standard as this child?
Yep.
So
And hey, just real quick, listen, if you missed Valentine's Day, which was a couple days ago, do not miss Friday. Flowers Friday, $5 over at JH Events and Flowers right here in McHenry over on Commerce Drive. Check them out at www.jheventsandflowers.com. If you've got an event, they've got flowers. If you've got a man cave, they've got stuff for your man cave. They got 2 great locations, one here in McHenry on Commerce Drive, one over in Fox Lake right across from the train station. And today is $5 Friday. Listen, anybody can get flowers for their loved one on Valentine's Day. Not everybody gets them on Friday the 16th. Stop by, get them. Tell them you heard about us here right on 216 The Net and 216 Creator Studios, and Tom from Tom's Productions going to take care of you for that $5.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Did you know, Kent, that if you go to 216 Creator Studios on YouTube, and go to the live tab, you can hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, make sure you like us for other content like The Bridge. We have several different shows that are out there, and a lot of good value out there. And make sure you check out our NAM visit. That's out there too.
Stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Cool stuff. Yeah. Cool stuff. All right. So you were saying, Phil, back to that.
So as far as why is this grown adult, this professional, not held to the same standard as his child, right? If it's both high intensity environments, why is a person who did not make physical contact with another individual or scream in their face a thug, but a person who bumped their coach, yelled in his face, and then acted how they acted in the trophy ceremony?
Okay. So there's so many. So I'm going to chat in on this a little bit. I'm seeing so many different problems here, right?
Good.
There's so many different angles to look at this. And so a child's a child.
Child is a child.
Okay. So listen, if you look at me closely, I was never good at sports because that wasn't my thing.
You could be a good bowler.
I was awesome at curling. I'm a curler. I curl.
Yeah.
Me and Yakovich. So at the end of the day, this is what I can tell you about knowing how to read people and read a room.
Yeah.
Sports are very competitive.
Yeah.
Egos get very high.
Oh, really high. Yeah.
And we're talking about on the female side of things, a lesser of a testosterone count that in a chemical format that maybe doesn't push you into that bumping of the coach.
Yeah.
If your ego is high and you don't like what the coach is saying and you're very competitive, your temper gets up there, and maybe there should be some kind of anger management involved in sports, period, or some kind of counseling that goes along with that. Is that a thing? I don't know. However, I'm seeing the problem, but I don't see the solution. So on The Bridge, what brings it together? So what's the answer? What would be your answer, Kent?
The answer is easy for me.
Okay.
There's been a lot of conversations on The Bridge, other shows, where if I don't know the topic well enough,
right,
I say, listen,
hard to chime in.
Let me study that. Let's talk about it next week, or I'm going to come back because I don't know enough about it to have a good conversation. Okay. And I think that's a lot of what happens with. So the answer is easy. If you don't know, you ought not dip your toe in that water until you do know. Okay. So it blew up. Okay. So we'll take the Kyrie incident. Very smart guy. He mentioned a movie.
He just shared it.
He shared
the documentary.
Movie. Okay. And the league that he plays in, the NBA,
ate him up.
So what was the documentary about?
Right.
So the documentary was about Hebrews to Negroes, saying that African Americans are the original Jews. This is
correct.
Historically, this shows how we were here. Blah, blah, blah. This is Jewish documentation saying we recognize them by their black skin across their white tunic, but like acknowledging
okay
their dark skin, blah 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 blah. And it just goes to a 3-hour history breakdown, but he never said, see, I told y'all. The
Right.
Jews are, he didn't say
He just shared it.
Just shared
It's just knowledge that he saw that he thought,
But he
I want to
became
share
an
this.
Anti-Semites,
Okay.
or whatever they call
All of a sudden, he's anti-Semitic. You
Yep.
need to do a 5-something course. You need to donate $500,000.
Wow.
Anger
You need to
management.
do anger management.
Oh.
You lose your Nike contract. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. Like, we're pulling your shoes off.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So that,
So in that case, I don't want to interrupt, but in that case, has anybody ever gone, I have access to social media too, and it's happening to me, and go, hey, listen, I just wanted to share it. Now, for some reason, everybody wants to pull my contracts, my shoes. They want to bury me. But in turn, this is what I have actually done with my life.
oh my God.
And then
Well,
show it.
No, a lot of people put that out there because of all the money that he's given, donated, the good things that he's done. He's done more good than a lot of professional athletes, right? Right. He's just outspoken, right? And so, but at the time, that's what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Is his employer decided to go, oh, right now again. That's why I say, if it was St. Pierre who does this, the big 6'8", 300-pound lineman that's African American, does his employer all of a sudden go, whoa, hey, or do we go, boy, they hugged and loved each other afterwards, right? Without any repercussion.
Because that's what happened. Using that's what happened with Draymond, right? When he put Rudy Gobert in the headlock, he needs anger management, and this is this.
He does.
and look, but let's paint the picture. Sitting on the couch watching ESPN. We've all watched ESPN for most of us. Okay, ESPN. The problem with ESPN is they don't just show just basketball.
Correct.
Oddly enough, here's hockey. Oh, there's a fight.
Yeah.
Here's baseball.
Fight.
This team cleared the dugout.
There's a fight. Yeah.
Football, the guy bumped the and the only sport that just happens to be predominantly African American, that if fighting takes place, anger management is his
I
best.
think a lot of sports now.
No. We could clear the dugout tonight. Yeah. I could attack. There's so many broken bats over the knee, fight the coach.
Yeah.
Tom is just fine.
Yeah.
But Draymond, never mind the guy that just knocked out 4 teeth of the hockey guy,
Right?
who took
Or
a skate off.
the net.
Took a skate off. Emotions were high.
Yeah.
Everything should. What?
Yeah. So I think
I didn't like Draymond until I watched the hockey and the baseball where the real hooligans were.
I
Right.
think the
Right.
cure is
Right. They gotta watch MMA.
I think the answer is you seek first to understand rather than to be understood, and a lot of us want to throw our nickel into the fountain without understanding, right? And
What are both sides of the picture? Right.
Right. And then we're quick to respond. We're like I said, as my cousin, I love her, and she puts that out there. And as a Christian, I go, whoa, I think we missed the whole thing here. But then I'm like, that's what they want me to do, right? And so if I had a real issue about what she posted, I would message her or send her a text, whatever, right?
Right.
And I'm like, no, this is what social media does. This is what the algorithm does. Little poke, until hatred.
Just to create the perception.
So
To create, wag the dog.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect
Correct.
example.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
when we were talking about, and you said the powers that be create an issue, right? And we've talked about this for years on this show. Okay, well, if the powers that be told me to hate bald white men, problem is they're my closest friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a conversation. I love you two. The problem is, if I already don't like bald white men, and my algorithm hits that nerve that I already feel in my heart, you know what? Yeah. Bald white men are the problem. Angel Reese is a thug who didn't make physical contact, and the hockey throat slitter slasher is actually a good guy.
So what's his name? Chappelle did Bixby or whatever.
Clayton Bixby.
Clayton Bixby, right?
Right.
I mean, oddly enough, that is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That is exact. You know what I mean? Where are they at?
Right.
I can't, you know.
And you've been told to not like. Little do you know.
Little do you know. Right.
Because there's probably a violent hockey player like, could you believe Draymond choked a guy?
Oh yeah.
They were banging on my hood, Jasper. Like, you're the worst ones.
Right.
Like, stop it.
Right.
And I guess that's where I don't understand. If I'm watching it and I'm watching the spin, and we've said, if you don't agree with what we're saying on the show, hey, just put it on the table and watch for it. Watch how this athlete or this color athlete is a thug. Watch the action, and then watch what this athlete does. Watch the color of the athlete and watch the action.
Yeah, but and that's where I talk about understanding, right? Because what happens is now people who think that I should respond a certain way, and when I don't respond a certain way, start calling you out like, "Damn, Phil, you shouldn't. What are you talking about, Phil?" You know what I mean?
As far as
because we either choose to, so we either choose to mention it, right, or not, right? And all of a sudden somebody goes, "Ooh, Bill, that's not what you portray when you coach these kids," you know, and you're like, "Hey, let's stop and think about this for a second." Maybe all you said, right? Like, oh, wait a minute. You know what I mean?
Right.
So again, because people don't choose to understand first, right? And instead of going, "Hey, Phil, help me understand why you're saying that, or you believe that," or
they feed the wrong side of the table.
Drew.
Next thing you know,
right?
Yeah. Next thing you know, you got a saying about you being like, "Oh, you pulled a Phil Wallace."
You scotted.
Next thing you know, yeah, right. You've been SG. But that's what I'm saying.
Love
though.
you, Scott.
I mean,
if you're looking for it, you're gonna find it,
right? And
no matter
so,
what.
And so and then all of a sudden, the people who question how you responded, are closed-minded. They shut you out right now, and then it becomes an argument. Then it becomes, "Man, I don't care, Phil. Man, I never thought. Oh my God, you know."
Right. Oh. And here, I guess this is just maybe my disposition. My tribe is going to have a conversation because right now, like we said, like someone might have seen you have a hat. Someone might be listening thus far and think I have a problem with Travis. I don't.
Not at all.
I wasn't on the field.
Right.
I don't know him and his coach's relationship.
Right.
All I'm asking is the next time Angel Reese, or any other player yells with their coach or whatever, show me the hug. Lead with the hug. Have a paragraph about the hug that happened. That's all I'm saying.
Stop right there. Though.
I don't have a
stop right there,
for
though.
Travis.
So now the one person that might think that, but now that you've explained it, they might go, "I don't know if that explanation covers it for me." So that chicken starts clucking, then 13,000 chickens start clucking. Yeah. You understand?
As far as
if you look for it, you'll find it. If that one person's perception has a following, other people are following that one person, regardless of what is the truth. They want that drama. They want it to be so true that they don't believe your apology. They don't believe your explanation, that they're gonna go, "Baka." Then you got all these followers going, "Oh yeah, well she said Baka, so we're all saying Baka." Right? Next thing you know, all the chickens are clucking. Now you're known as you pulled a Phil Wallace. So I think to bring it back to the bridge,
I think we're kind of leaning on the same thing.
We are, and I think to bring it back to the bridge, once again, we identify the problem, right?
Right.
So in our aspect, we're three brothers here. In our aspect, how do we bring that to the bridge and say, what is the connective tissue to help people make it right?
Right. Okay. So going with the chickens clucking. I would say to the hen house, I'm open for dialogue. And I'll talk to the main rooster and I'll let you guys have a conversation. Because I think people who are looking for solutions rather than just cluck.
Are you saying chickens can't make decisions without a rooster?
No. I'm saying you said they're following this person.
I'm reading it. You see what I just did there? Stay tuned, folks. Cappuccino's here all day. Go ahead.
Like, because if we're looking for the bridge, I'm down to have a conversation. Yeah. And I think that at certain times, and we've seen this, right?
I don't think a lot of people are.
No.
Right. Yeah. There's people who are going to watch the conversation and be like,
I'm just a cock.
If people are going to watch the conversation, like, actually, this part is consistent. So this is
Yeah.
not just a
Well,
one-off.
here's the other thing. I don't know how many lanes the bridge has, right? Because I can only take my experience. I can
Right.
only take my education. I can only take, you know what? I didn't, you know, I'm listening. I never had to get out of a town by sundown.
sucks.
Okay. I've never, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, yes. Have I been in a situation where I was the mega minority and felt uncomfortable? Absolutely. Evergreen Plaza.
I was gonna say,
Yeah, I was 19 years old, college student, right? And my roommates and my teammates brought me back here to Chicago. I'm from Iowa. I don't know. They're like, hey, let's go. We're going to go to the mall. I'm like, hey, cool, mall. Let's go. Hey, the Gap, whatever. Yeah, right. And
City Trends.
I show up at Evergreen Plaza. And then, you know, you hear the skin of the needle over the record. I'm like, hey, Santa's black here. What? Right?
So different.
Right?
Let me get fired up.
Right? So I have felt that, but again, a lot of times I think there's a lot of traffic, and I don't think I can change lanes, and I don't want to change lanes because I might irritate somebody who's in the same lane as me,
right.
and there's not a lot of individualism anymore in the world because of social media.
So we're basing this on a feeling of not wanting to, this might not offend, but this might offend this, or so and the answer I think is simple, is data, the facts.
Yeah.
Facts are facts, and that's on both sides of the perception, and you can't really argue with logic because logic is based on facts. So if you come to the bridge and you say, hey, listen, I found that you didn't like what Phil said.
Yep.
And so here's the deal. Here's Phil. Did you know Phil does this, and this, and this? Oh, by the way, Phil's also a human being and is not perfect.
What?
How many times have you made errors or mistakes in your life? Sometimes you got to reflect in your own mirror and say, I'm not perfect. Yeah, I don't take anything personal until you get to know somebody. When you get to know that person. Now, celebrities, you're getting the characteristics on camera. You don't really know what their daily routine is. You don't know what, you know, this athlete, what struggles, what pains them behind their eyes, you know. So taking the information, if you want to cluck with all the other chickens, I would have to say, you know, do your homework and find out what, okay, so you found a negative. How many positives can you find on that person? Right?
They're not.
Now, listen, if you're out hurting people intentionally, that data alone dictates that I personally don't want anything to do with you. Right? If you're out hurting people, right? But if you make a mistake, and mind you, media changes that a lot. Well, Phil does seem perfect to me as well. This is just role play. Okay.
Thank you.
I love the cop. Nate, you're awesome. I think that we get so wrapped up into wanting the drama for entertainment that we move past the point on how it affects other people. And so once again, when you're looking for it, you're going to find it. And then when you don't want it anymore, it's already in your algorithm, and then it's going to be bombarding you.
Okay. But you said people are wanting the drama, right? Let's say that your side of the coin is no one looked into the hug.
Mm-hmm.
That's your stance on this topic. But my stance is just watch the consistency. I can hear your side and non-angrily say, sure, I'm sure there was a hug. I'm sure that might have happened, and it should happen. And if they're good, I'm good.
Sure.
So I've addressed it. All I'm saying, watch who's called a thug. Watch who's not called a thug. Watch who emotions were high. Watch who we don't care about emotions.
Sure.
Watch who is a disturbed young man after a mass shooting. Watch who's a thug who needs to go to jail for the rest of their life. I respected your side that there was a hug. I'm just asking you to possibly look into the consistency. Now, if you see, like we said, because there's incidents and there's the consistency.
Well.
You're talking consisting as patternized.
So there's the pattern, right? So there might be a Kyrie shared this, and that was the incident. But the pattern needs to do a lot of good
let's
things.
stay here for a second.
We're here.
Is the pattern is this. Again, if that was St. Pierre, we go back to when he was in trouble as a 6-year-old. Right?
Oh my God, that gets brought up.
We find the backstory.
We're looking for it.
Right.
Have you seen this?
We're looking for
Have you
that
seen some basketball?
No, I haven't.
backstory.
Have you seen this? It'll be like Kent Jones having a phenomenal night. Small school in Iowa. Can't believe they're in the Elite Eight. Who would have thought that at 14 he was arrested for?
Right.
What?
Correct.
Why?
Where'd that come from?
He's having 32 points from Northern
Right.
Iowa University and thriving in
Right.
the national. Why would you bring up?
Right. So and that's what I mean, right? So we're gonna find why you're angry. We don't find why right? We find that hey, there's a hug in there. We don't look for the
Sure.
hug a lot of times, right?
Right.
The
hug is.
Nate says, "Hey, I'm not trying to flirt or anything, but Phil seems perfect to me."
Thank you, Nate.
Well, yeah.
But right, so the inconsistency is we stop at the bump and go, "Hey, let's not cancel them." They hugged it out, right?
Right.
On the flip side, with a lot of African Americans,
The St. Pierre's.
right,
Our
is hey,
Decepticons.
let's not forget that he was arrested when he was 12 for carrying 3 joints, and this is why he's got anger issues.
Right.
Let's not forget that his uncle killed 17 men, or whatever, on a drunken rage. Now I'm making all this up. We do not condone violence at any point.
Sure.
It's just 3 guys talking, and
we're just having a conversation.
Right?
This is a conversation
So-
a lot of people should be
So,
having. to work things
so
out.
the idea is, again, to Drew's point, what are we looking for?
Right.
We can't accept that Phil had a bad day,
Sure.
or Kyrie, and we can't accept or highlight the millions of dollars that he's given to minority families to get an education, to get out of the system that they're in. But what we can do is go, you hate all Jewish people. Oh, wait.
Right.
Not what I was saying.
Right.
And that's when we've had conversation. People like, well, all these athletes just stack up their money and don't do anything. They don't show the hug.
Mm.
They don't show Kyrie donating millions of dollars or this
So
professional person. or this.
age old problem. I'll move it out of sports a little bit.
Yeah.
Age old problem is wow, Michael Jackson's still pretty famous, isn't he?
Yeah.
But how many charges did he have? But it's okay because it's Michael Jackson and his music's awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been forgiven. Yeah.
Right. Now, started as originally as an African American. I'll put it that way, right?
I can't.
Too soon?
I can't.
Too soon?
No, because no. It's not that it's too soon. It's just the flip side of that coin is thank God he changed before the trial. And that's how it comes full circle.
Right. You know what I mean? That's awesome. Well put. But still, holding the kid,
strategic, like
holding a
That's
kid
funny
off.
right there. That's funny.
they're
Of the
convicting me of
balcony.
what? They're convicting me of what?
Right. It's like, got any more sandpaper? Got some bleach.
That's the bleach.
But still, like his music
That's
is.
what-
And listen, I listen to Michael Jackson
God
music.
rest his soul.
You know, but for holding the kid off the balcony to try to prove that he was a father, that it wasn't this thing, but he had this amusement park and had all these kids sleep in his house, I guess allegedly, right?
Allegedly.
But all these charges were brought up, but then they went away because there was money involved.
Well, yeah.
And so everybody knows this, right? But how dare you talk about Michael Jackson in that light because his music's awesome?
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, when you're looking for the problem, you'll find it. Where's the consistency?
That's what
Right?
we're saying. Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So the consistency works all the way around the bed. Now, listen, I'm just a short, fat, bald white guy, but obviously now I'm white privileged for some reason. If you live in America, folks, you're already privileged. It's just about what you do with your privilege, right?
A lot of it.
Some people have rougher times than others. Don't get me wrong, but perception is forced. It's forced upon you that you are this. But nobody wants to do the homework to find the perception on both sides before they make their own opinion to it.
Right. and that's the answer to the bridge is, I think we need to, instead of knee jerking, right? I think we need to first let's see the whole picture. Everybody's got a microscope because of social media, and that microscope is whatever the social media robots want to put on your feed, right? Because I get things like, "Hey, you should be friends with me." I'm like, I've never heard of this person,
right?
I don't know who they are. I don't need to be their friend, right? Or something comes across and you're like, why do I like that one? I don't know this person. It came across my feed.
Right. Why
did it come across my feed? Right?
Do you want to touch on the trophy ceremony part?
Yeah.
You've been itching at that one for a minute, haven't you, Lee?
But there's a reason. There's a reason, because anytime, and I'll keep it with women's sports, if South Carolina dances in the locker room, or no, LSU. So down south, Lil Boosie and Webby are the Journey and Dave Matthews Band in LSU.
Yeah.
So they're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana school. In the locker room, they're dancing to Boosie. It's ratchet. But if I want to get on the microphone and say, you got to fight for your right to party and scream it out and sing all these rock and roll songs the same way.
Right. So here's
people were classy.
So here's what I'm saying, right? The owner gets up, hey, you know what? We'll want to give thanks to God for giving us the right.
Yep.
Very, very well spoken. And like, wow, okay, wow, threw God out there real fast. Okay.
So did Patrick. Patrick said, thank God, thank for my beautiful wife and my family.
Yep. Right. And then all of a sudden, this idiot comes up here and he just Viva Los! I mean, he sounds drunk already.
We're getting drunk in Vegas tonight and partying. And
yep. And they just keep holding it. And then they even egg him on, like, hey, you gotta fight for your right to party, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then he says,
right. I mean, they egg him on. But now I don't see him now jumping out and going, you know what? Because somebody got shot and killed at their party this week, right? When they were having their parade, and several people got injured. I don't see him stepping up right now going, "Whoa, that was bad," and you know what? We shouldn't have partied so hard,
right?
Or whatever, right?
No,
and
my
he should
bad,
be the first,
right?
One, but there's not. But there's also nobody pinning it on, saying, "Oh," right? And again,
because I'm if you are reciting the music of your culture, of your background, or your preference,
right?
Let an African American
see. But here's the other issue I had. So they show Taylor and him kissing afterwards and hugging, and they go like this. You know what? That's real. That's real love, right? I mean, it's so good to have an important woman and a strong supporter. They're dating. Mahomes is married with children, and we don't say that about them.
Why? Because we don't show a stable black family.
That's correct.
That's the Bigfoot.
It's a big no.
Some you just don't see on television.
Nope.
Right. So
there's no scandal right now. There's no affairs.
That's when I turn the TV on. I can't watch any more of this. This is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
I'm just what.
It's because you're living in your little white privileged house.
I am. It's a beautiful house.
I can't see where a minority wouldn't be called classless.
Yeah, it's not profitable.
I can't see where a minority wouldn't be called classless.
Right.
I think
you know what I mean? Like, hey, especially like you're saying, read the room. Two people came up here and thanked God, and you came up here screaming about getting drunk in Vegas.
Yeah, and I agree. Yeah, Dan says, yeah, I'm just tired of seeing her on TV. Me too. I've never been a big fan of hers. I don't know what the thing is. But there's grown ass men who are like, I'm a Swiftie. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not profitable dance. It's absolutely. And then Nate says they've been together like 2 months. Taylor's just building material for her new album. I agree. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what happens? What happens next, right? And good black families don't sell. Hey, unless it's a television show. I mean, Blackish was pretty white though. That's why it was called Blackish. Right? Ray did a good job on that.
All I'm looking, and again,
right.
You won a national championship. You're excited. I get it. I'm just saying. So when LSU dances to Lil Boosie or so and so has these lyrics, they're just passionate. Keep that same. The message in my mind is keep that same energy consistently across the board.
Yeah.
It's not thug if it's this. It's not classes if it's that. If it's not over here as well.
Yeah. Well, and that leads into so many different things too, right? Like let's talk employment, right? And let's just take race out of it. Just employment in general. Let's put a little age into it. I'll give you a story. Not too far from here, there's a gas station. 2 old women are in this gas station working it, right? Because kids today don't want to work. That's the thing. Not that I'm saying that, but that's the thing. I'm not pulling a Phil, people.
That's what they're saying.
That's true.
But so I'm standing there, and this old woman, she's got this flower in her ear, a very sweet lady. And I was up next, so I go up there and I go to pay for my gas, and I says, I really like the flower. And she was like, oh, well, thank you very much. And then her cell phone went off in her pocket. She pulled it out for a second, looked at it, muted it, and put it back in her pocket. I guess her boss, the other old lady that's standing next to her, goes, that needs to be muted all the time. Now I look behind me, and there's like 7 people in line. So I look at the other lady and I said, well, that was completely uncalled for. I'm like, because the distraction of her phone was nothing near the ignorance that you did disciplining your employee in front of 7 customers at the top of your lungs. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, you guys should be retired and enjoying life or doing something else. Well, kids don't want to work today. I'm like, no, they just don't want to work for you or people like you. Right? So the perception is if you're going to do something consistently, right? And I 100% agree with you, Phil.
Right.
But make sure you do it across the board. If you're going to discipline your employees, don't do it in front of customers. You know, what is the image that you're portraying, right? And why people don't want, and then you say things, you throw out these keywords. Young kids don't want to work today. They don't understand. Listen, it's their world right now, not ours. We already had it once. It's up to them to make that difference. And because we don't agree with it, well, you're gonna have to learn to adapt to it because that's just the way it is. Social media takes over, is everything right now. You can't see anybody lifting their head up from their phone, a tablet, and to barely have a regular conversation or shake a hand. Right. So they're feeding into this. And now what's the new widget? What's the new shiny object in the room? What's the drama that I'm involved in? And how do we and how do I find more about it without looking at the other side? You have the leg, right? The thigh, and then the knee. Is that leg going to work if this connective tissue isn't attached? No.
Right.
So I guess in my turn, bringing it back to the bridge, and I know we have to wrap it up, is instead of getting angry, get knowledge, figure it out.
That's what we're saying.
And try to put it in front. So when Phil watches it, he can say, hey, that's a little more consistent.
That's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for.
That's all he's looking for, folks.
That same energy.
You know?
Yep.
It's cool for Travis. Let it slide for Tyrone.
That's all.
You know what I mean?
That's all.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with it. All right, we got to run. Listen, come back in about a half hour for our good friend, Innovative Strategies, and Bill Hasse. Till next time, be good, but more importantly, be good to one another.